Okay, so good afternoon, and we are live. Thank you for joining me. If you can see me, please do let me know that you can see me. Good afternoon and happy holidays. Yes, we are live. So kind to me. Overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Only tastes it. Please, if you're here, do let me know that you're here. Tell me where you're streaming live from. I am streaming live from the capital city, Abuja. If you're streaming live, wherever you are, please do let me know. Hi, Lorita ESL. It's good to have you here. Thank you so much for joining me. Love of God. Yay. Thank you so much. All right, if you are joining me just now, if it's your first time, put a hashtag and say first time joining you. Thank you for joining me. Thank you. It's our Tuesday live is 2 p.m. and we are here every 2 p.m. Yep, we are live. So kind to me. Thank you, Lorita from Lagos, Nigeria. Hi, Obemi. Good to have you here. It's a holiday, yes? So kind to me. Overwhelming, necklace love of God. Thank you for joining me as we get ready to make sure that we are live on all our platforms. I go to once, I can confirm it. Give your love away. Live from Benin. Pedra, it's good to have you here. Oh, reckless love of God. All right. So we are live. Thank you, Cassie from South Africa. It's good to see you. Just tell me where you are streaming live from. I am streaming live from Abuja, Nigeria. If you're streaming live wherever, please, if you're joining on YouTube, let me know that you can hear me on YouTube, please, before we start. No man, you won't train well. Dance your time down, running after me. Hi, Ofure, I see you. Oh, dancing you went down, coming after me. All right. You went sit down, bouncing went down, coming after me. No time, no time now. Can you hear me, YouTube family? Please let me know that you can hear me before we take off. Streaming live, we can hear you loud and clear. Yep. My mom is here. Hi, Mom. Thank you so much for joining me. All right, joining from Cameroon. Thank you, Arak. Thank you, everyone. Coming up to me. Well, me never ending reckless love of God. All righty, and it is 5 minutes after 2. Yes, and we are live because it's a Tuesday live, and we are here every Tuesday, 2 p.m., bringing you good news. Yes, I am that your parenting pastor, the one that shakes the table, breaks it, and gives you a new one. Yes. All right. Thank you so much for joining me. And if you're excited to be here, invite that friend, tag a friend, share this link with someone who needs to hear what we are talking about. Omolola Senior Yada in the building. Thank you. Shout out to all the Yadas. Shout out to all of you. You guys are awesome. All right. Shout out to the parents in the inner circle of the academy. You guys are simply amazing. Today we are talking about, is my child ready for the world? Someone reached out to me and said to me, that story you shared today when you were sharing that when you were talking about this particular topic, was it true? It made me, smile a bit. And I said, yes. In fact, there are worse stories. There are stories that we have that we do not have permission to share. Now, what happened was that this particular, guy had gone to school and didn't even know what it meant to be in school. And he said to me, if my parents had taught me what I needed to do, I would actually have been able to navigate my world and not get into drugs. Happy holiday. Today we're saying, is my child ready for the world? Is my child ready for the world? What is it? What is happening? How am I setting my child up for success in the world? Am I setting my child up for failure in the world? What exactly am I doing? Invite your friends. We're going to bring down the table, all right? The table of, I'm afraid of sending my child out to go and do something. We will scatter it for you today, okay? So it's not the same thing, right? Remember that when you hear that thing that resonates with you, put the fire emojis. We love it. We love the fire emojis. Tag that friend that needs to hear this. Tag that parent that needs to be here. Do not miss it, all right? So when we talk about protection, it's not the same. It is not the same. How to prepare your child is not the same as protecting your child. We mix up the two. Many of the times you hear parents say things like, it is my duty to protect my child. I can't put my child out there. The question is, to what extent? That's a question that you need to ask yourself. What is the limit of I can't put my child out there? What do I need to do? Is there a place where I will be, and it will be that I'm actually setting my child up to fail? Is it possible that my protection is actually gradually slipping into, destroying my child without me knowing? A few days ago, I shared a post, and I said that I sent my 11-year-old to go and buy things in the market and come and prepare. There were a lot of buzz. Oh, it is for you. What works for you? Of course, we know the normal buzz of it is what works for you and all of that. And while reading many of the comments, I smiled. A lot of people said in that comment, oh, the security situation, doesn't allow you to do some of these things and all of that. And somebody asked me, how were you able to achieve that? I said, join the inner circle. I teach parents in the inner circle how they are able to achieve it. But let me say something to you. More than ever before, our children need, I did not say you want to, I said need. Our children need to understand the security situations and how to actually wriggle their way out of it. If we didn't, if we couldn't, our parents couldn't do it for us, it was okay, because the security situation in our time was a bit better. Trust me, this is the time that your child will need to learn how to navigate their world more than ever before. So if you're thinking that it's now that things are actually bad, that you need to put your child inside the house, you lie. You are putting a system that would actually set your child up for failure. The times are so crazy in the now that if your child do not understand how to navigate their world, then your child is going to be in the middle of everything, lost. The question you want to ask yourself today is, if my child is found in a space where they should actually say no, or where they should actually run away from danger, will they be able to do that? I was sharing the other day, right, in the Facebook group, and I said that your bedroom is the smallest portion of the world. So when you sit down in your bedroom and say things like, oh, that is what is working for me, you are killing your child, because the world is bigger than your bedroom. What it takes to raise a child who actually can transform things takes much more than that place in your room. I was having a conversation. One of the first things that you do in the inner circle is to go through a session called Creating a Social Roadmap for Your Gen Z. Unfortunately, what we have today, what we are having increasingly today, are parents who are keeping their children in the house, putting televisions, putting all kinds of games. The children don't get to go anywhere. The children don't get to do much. All they know is your home. How do you want your child to fight a war they know nothing about? How do you want your child to be able to influence a world they do not understand? Many of the things that is happening today, our children do not understand how they work. I want to be sure that the people on our YouTube channel can still hear me. I want to be sure that I can still be heard from our YouTube channel. Please let me see the prompts so that I know if we are good to go on that channel. And you know, a lot of the times I've seen a lot of parents say, oh, when they get to school, they would find their way. Or you say things like, oh, when they get to the university, they are not grown yet. We forget that we are not raising children, we are preparing adults. We are not raising children, we are preparing adults. So anytime we think that we are raising children, it keeps us in that space where we keep thinking that, oh, it's all about the children. Oh, it's all about being a child. But it goes beyond that. We are raising people who would be able to go out in the world to actually see how the world works. Last week, we were sharing on the 5 skills that your child will need while they are in the 21st century. And I was sharing that is just a module. It was just a module out of our full module in the inner circle. And part of the skills that I had shared was that we divided those skills, and we said life skills, we said global citizenship skills, we said learning skills, and we said skills for kings. And in all of those skills that we were able to break down, we were able to put it in different sectors, and we're able to actually, teach it. But unfortunately, we don't teach that, in this forum. We only teach that in the inner circle. So how do I even begin to get my child ready for the world? How do I begin to get my child ready for the world? What does it even mean that my child is ready for the world? I've seen a lot of people that we're raising today. Unfortunately, what we are thinking, one of the reasons why we are still at the spot where we are fighting with disciplinary action is because we are not building children with skills. Now, if you build a child with skills, you would fight with less misbehaviors. Quote me anywhere. Skilled children are so easy to parent. A child who is skilled will give you little or no issues. Because one of the reasons why children misbehave is because they are unskilled. One of the reasons why parents actually react with the wrong disciplinary action is because the parents are unskilled. Let's take communication, for instance. One of the reasons why people get frustrated when people do things is because they lack the ability to communicate appropriately. It's a skill. Communication is a skill. Unfortunately, it's not something that was handed over to us while we were growing up. So we needed to actually struggle to learn it. So when we come out and we say, things like, oh, what I just need to do is that you wait for correction. When you're waiting for correction, you're not necessarily building skills. When you turn your parenting to the point where you decide to build skills, you will find your journey to become easier. I said in one of the sessions in the inner circle, and I said to the parents in the inner circle that if you do not build skills in your children, you will get weary on your parenting journey. The journey will become so difficult and so hard to actually pull through. If your child, for instance, I give you an instance with myself, my children are 11, they can cook, they can do anything in the home. So I keep wondering, what would be my reason for going off in the way that, that I see a lot of parents go off? There are a lot of misbehaviors that I don't have to deal with. A lot of it. By 9 a.m. this morning, I had breakfasts right in my room. This is my first time actually coming from my room and walking into my home office today. And the home is clean, food is ready. So why would you need to scream? And why would you need to beat anybody if you have a system like that works? So you find out that it's our lack of being able to build skills in our children that actually frustrates our journey, not the other way around. So it is important for us to note that it is unskilled children that actually have a lot of those issues. Now, let me also say this. You don't beat skills into a child. You teach it. Is it possible that a child fails mathematics? Is it possible that a child fails mathematics and you beat mathematics into the head of a child? Think about it. Just think about it. Your child fails mathematics or English. What do? You get someone who can help them to teach them, isn't it? I see a lot of parents, you get an extra lesson teacher to come and teach the child because the child isn't doing well in one particular subject or another. But when a child is struggling with soft skills, you beat the child. There's a reason why it's called a skill. So when a child is struggling with hard skills, you bring someone to teach. When a child is struggling with soft skills, you beat the child. And one of the reasons why you keep doing it over and again is because you can't teach anybody by beating them. You teach by actual teaching. It's important that we recognize that what we are doing in our journey of parenting is teaching skills, either soft skills or hard skills. So a child that lacks skills will be a problem to you. Now, I've heard a lot of people say that, we need to raise obedient and good children. I don't want to raise obedient and good children. I want to raise children who can navigate their world, who can fulfill purpose, and who understand what it means to be human. Children who understand honor. We have fought obedience so long. We have concentrated. Everything is about obedience. Now we are raising dumb zombie children who are obedient. When we were doing one of the sessions in the inner circle, we have monthly webinars in the inner circle. So our last monthly webinar, a speaker, Chedozeze, was talking about the 10 virgins, the parable of the 10 virgins. And that the Bible recorded that these other ones were foolish. Your child can be a virgin and be foolish. So it's not really about raising good children only. Our definition of good children in itself had something about it. So now what we do is our definition of good children is a child who you would say, whoa, the child will back and not say a word to you. That's our definition of good children. Is that really what a good child is? Is that really what a good child is? A good child is a child that can actually understand how to navigate with skills. How do you begin to prepare a child for the world? Build skills. Is there anyhow I can overemphasize this? Build skills. And let me say this. The church cannot build skills in your child for you. Neither will the school do it for you. I hear a lot of people say things like, I'm sending my children to boarding house so that when they are when they are becoming independent, or they will learn how to be independent. Boarding house does not teach your child to be independent. Boarding house gives your child an opportunity to practice the independence you have taught them at home. It's not the same. So a child you don't teach independence in the home, don't send them to boarding house. Because they're going to go there and they will become a mess. Because one of the things that is very key is putting a child out there who can actually navigate the process. People are, constantly trying to blame schools, I am blaming parents. You are the one that I'm calling out. Because if you do not raise a child who can stand up to you, you have raised a zombie as well, who will go to school and will not also be able to stand up to people when things go wrong. Because you have raised a child who only conform. Thank you, Mary Beth. They only conform. It is my way or the highway. It's all about what you say. In fact, you come out and you even brag about it. If my 20-year-old messes up, I beat them. And you're not ashamed to say such a thing. You're not ashamed to actually come out and say that you're beating a 20-year-old. You have failed if you have to still beat your child that is a teenager. Any child that you have to beat, go back and go and ask yourself questions. What exactly am I doing? Why do I need to even beat somebody for them to actually understand? It means that the child isn't learning. The child isn't learning. And I said in that broadcast, that should be on Monday, you can catch replay. And I said in that broadcast, and I said, Africa more than ever before needs saviors. Needs saviors. And unfortunately, we're still here arguing on things that don't make sense, saying things that is not even going to help us. It is the home front that is held responsible. Without raising children in the home who can build these processes, then there is nothing. Don't send your child out there. I usually say that parenting is 0 to 11. Every other thing you're doing after 11, you are in war. I tell the parents in the inner circle, when you come in, I say, give glory to God. If you have 0 to 11 children, then it means that, your work is going to be easier. You have a child that is over 11, you haven't been able to build skills. Trust me, you are in war. Wear your khaki double barrel one and be ready for it. Because parenting, really, raising a child, teaching them is 0 to 11. That's when, they absorb. Everything you do comes from your subconscious. Your subconscious is built between 0 to 7. So everything you do, 98%, comes from your subconscious. So everything your child is going to become is going to come from their experience of their 0 to maximum 10, 11. It's going to come from their subconscious. That's why the Jesus father say, give me a child who is below 7, and I'll give you a Catholic forever. It's important for us to understand what is required. I hear a lot of parents say things like, oh, we want to build godly children. Oh, we're just raising godly children. That's why we're just praying. Oh, I just want my child to just learn how to pray. If you raise a child that can only pray, you have failed. Quote me. A child who is only good in your house and can only pray, you have failed. Your child will struggle to be able to get into the world. That's why the Bible talks about the foolish virgins. So your child can be a virgin and still be foolish. How do I begin to build a real system for my child to go out there? The other day, recently, some people, it was shared, some phone conversation, something on phone, how much phone should a child have? Should a child have phone? And a lot of people came there to say, oh, yes, I'm going to give my children phone. In fact, somebody said, at 2 years, I give my child phone at 2 years. I give my child phone at 2 years, and it doesn't matter. and they are using it to learn. Right now, they've learned this, they learned that, they learned that. We don't even know that that phone actually rewires how the dopamine reacts in our children. We don't even know. There's a rewiring going on. You know how cocaine rewires the dopamine center? That's what smartphone does for your child. You know, we are led with a lot of ignorance, a whole lot of it, you know, in recent times, that it actually beats me many times. We need to wake up. We need to wake up from whatever it is that we're doing. There's a lot of things that is happening. And let me say this. While you're seated in your chair, saying, oh, let me do what works for me. Coming back and locking my children inside the house works for me. Let me bust your bubble. It's not about what works for you. No. There are principles. I said it recently that parenting is seed time and harvest. I still said it this morning. Parenting is seed time and harvest. It is what you sow, you will reap. You cannot sow yam and you will reap corn. It's not possible, no matter how much you pray. God does not rule the world by love. God rules the world on principles. There are principles to follow. For God so loved the world. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son. God could have loved the world and just sent his son directly to him. He has the capacity to do it. But yet, he followed the process. He followed the principle to make his own son to be born. To make his own son to be born on earth. Do you know what that means? By a human being. Because God wants to teach you, but you can't say it, that life is about principles. That life is about process. That life is about seed time and harvest time. It can't change. It can't change. The world is ruled on principles. You need to get that. How do I begin? How do I begin to actually do this for my child? Give your child responsibility and accountability. A child who do not have enough responsibility is the child that struggles with misbehaviors. Quote me, anywhere, anytime. If your child there's no structure in your home. Anything goes. You walk in, everybody walks in, your child puts TV, whenever they like. When parents come to me and say things like, oh, I've been struggling, I've been beating my child. Every morning when they wake up, the first thing they do is to put on TV. There's a problem with your structure. There's a problem with your system. There's a problem with you because parenting is about you first. You have a problem that you need to solve. Discipline is not a child's problem. Discipline is a parent's problem. Discipline is a parent's problem. Because discipline is defined as structure. So if you can define discipline as structure, it's going to help you. It's going to help you. So anytime you're waking up and you're telling yourself things like, child, I cannot, oh, my child cannot put we had a bit of, okay, thank you. There is something wrong with that whole system because it lacks structure. Give your children responsibility. I see homes and I see I see a lot of people. I see a lot of people, you get into a home, the children there's no interaction, everybody's on their tablet, no structure, no system, no responsibility. The child, you see a 10-year-old who knows how to do nothing, and you think it's okay. Come on. Parenting is seed time and harvest time. Unfortunately, the only thing we see to quote about parenting in the Bible is, oh, spare the rod and spoil the child, because it's how we've been wired. Not understanding that if you are actually able to use the rod in the appropriate way, you won't be struggling with a rod, a physical one. You won't be struggling with it. That rod is your training. That rod is the structure you build. That rod is you and the model you leave for your children. That rod is the things that you teach. That's the rod. That's the rod. That's the actual rod. The Bible says thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. What does it mean? It's comforting. Responsibility. Stand up today and create responsibility for your children. Give them responsibility. Give them accountability. Let your children be accountable to a process. I don't know why anybody would wake up and just do whatever they want. A home without rules, nothing works. Everybody just doing whatever they want. And the day you get too angry because you are the Lord and Master, you bring out your cane, you flog everybody will align for a moment. And then few days later, everybody goes back to status quo where everything is a mess. If you allow your children to do anything, that's what you're sowing. You will reap anything. You will reap anything. Number two, you need to allow your children fail. I have said this over and again. Let your children fail. Let them fail. Let them fail. Stop jumping into the process for your children at all times. Stop looking for how you go to school. Stop looking for how you will go to school and alter grades for your children. If your child isn't doing well, there's nothing wrong with it. Stop looking for how you will always rescue your child because they are going to fall. Or your child is playing outside, you are carrying your chair, you're seated right in front because you don't want injury on their body. If you don't want injury on their body, you don't want, things to happen to them. Let them fail. It is a process of learning. Failure in itself teaches a child how not to do the things that they've actually already done, that they've seen isn't working. Are you getting value from this session? If you're getting value from this session, please tag someone, share this post, and let's keep going before I get in to the other three processes that we're talking about. You need to allow your children fail. I remember one of those days, my son had forgotten his project. My friend had forgotten his project at home. He called me, "Mommy, you're at home. I beg, please, help me drop this in on your way to work. For me, I forgot my project." In my mind, I say, how? You've forgotten it. You need to take responsibility. Responsibility for the process. And he said, "Oh, they said in school, they're going to," I said, "I'm not going to be able to do that. Sorry." And, he came back. Of course, there was a consequence. Let your children reap consequence for their action. This overprotection, I don't know where it's coming from. Yet you guys are the ones wielding the rod. You wielding the rod and flogging everybody. I don't know what you're flogging for, really. Let your children get consequence for their action. You don't need to flog anybody to teach them, because skills are not beaten in, they are taught. Let it sink in. Recently, my son had done something. He had done something wrong. His friends are around. And I had come, and then he said, "I know that it's going to be a consequence for this." And I said to him, "You understand it already, so there's going to be a consequence." And by the time we dished out the consequence, removed the privileges, he understood that was part of the process. He came back to me later on in the day to apologize. He said, "I'm really sorry. It was a mistake. I should have actually handled this, better." And I said, "Since it was like this, what would you have done?" And he said, "I would have done it this way. I would have done it that way. I would have done it the other way. And all of this wouldn't have happened. I'm really sorry." And he said to me, "I know that the consequence is going to, come out. I know that I messed up. I think that I should actually learn to do things better. And then he came back to me yesterday and he said, if this kind of thing happens, what do I exactly do? Is it what you taught me the other time? Or is it, the things? And I explained it to him and we walked through the process. I tell you something. That's the only way. That's the only way to really teach your children that life is about a cause and effect. That when you do something, there must be a consequence. Let me tell you what happens when you beat your child and when you yell. When you beat your child, you begin to feel guilty. And then you won't be able to bring out the appropriate consequence that should follow. So what happens when you beat your child is that you feel guilty. I've already beaten him. Now let him just go. Meanwhile, the consequence for that action is actually what really teaches your child the real lesson. So you take away the consequence by employing a wrong disciplinary measure. By employing a wrong disciplinary measure, you take away the consequence. That's actually what happens. Somebody is saying enable share button. You can't share from the group. You can only tag. You can only tag if you're watching us in the group. You can only tag someone. Julius Afalabi, thank you so much. Said you there's so much value. Thank you for watching. Julius Afalabi said something. ROD is a framework. This is amazing. ROD, responsibilities, operational systems, and discipline. Awesome. That's what the ROD means. I think I love this. Responsibilities, operational system, and then discipline. That's the word, that's what the ROD means. ROD is in your teaching. ROD is not in physical things. When you read the Bible, do not read it with your physical mind. Read it, let the Holy Spirit help you interpret. Let your children learn to take responsibility for their actions. That's one of the ways to actually let your children understand. Because you know what? Your child is going to go out to the world. All right. If you're watching me on Facebook community, you can only tag someone to be able to watch with you. All right. But if you're watching me on YouTube, yes, you can share link with people. One of the things that happens when you do not allow your children bear the consequences of their action is that they do not understand what it means for things to happen. Hi, Ifnaya. You do not understand what it means for things to happen and for the consequences to come. But when you keep beating, you take away whatever it is that a child should have learned from the system. We teach, there's a particular module that we have in the inner circle that says how to allow your children fail and learn from it. Is a module, is a full module in the inner circle. How to allow your children fail and learn from it. All right, and it's a whole system. It's a whole system. So you can, for people who have been asking me about the inner circle, you can actually join us in 2022, but you can't join us now. All right. Number 3, teach your children how to join. How to join, right? Teach your children how to solve their problem without solving it for them. I don't understand, ma. Is it wrong to have helped him drop the project? Wasn't you calling you sure he's too responsible and aware of the consequences of not submitting it? No, it's not wrong. At that time, he understood that putting up, so that would be me jumping in to help him in the process. He forgotten it. There's a consequence for him not remembering his project. Number 1 thing that you need to check is that is the child going to die? No. Provided it's not a do or die affair in the life of the child, then you can use it as a teachable moment. So there's something called the teachable moment. Gochi, there is something called the teachable moment, and it's a system that you actually build around your children to be able to teach them steps depending on what it is that the process that you have gone through first. That's actually how it works. And I'm sure that if you are in the inner circle, you understand this better. All right. So you need to actually teach them how to solve their problem without solving it for them. Your child comes to you and says, oh, I have issues with this, with that, and that. And then you rush in. Bring it, let me fix it for you. Your child is fiddling with, one of the things that we do for our children is that they started fiddling with Lego as small as they were. That was our foremost toy, right? And for every time that we get a new Lego system, you find our son at the early stages, very, very impatient. He struggles and then he goes into, Jogochi says, stop, Joe. I'm sorry. He goes into get very agitated about it. And then he calls his dad, I can fix it. And then he starts crying. At that time, the typical Nigerian parents, what you do is that you bring out the kid. Why are you crying? Why are you crying? Without understanding that what is happening is that the child lacks skill. The skill for emotional control. The skill to be able to stay on a task and finish it. Executive functioning skills, ability to sit, focus, and all of that. Because we understood it, we kept at it and we kept helping him solve the problem, allowing him solve his problem without actually solving his problem for him. And as we get on, as we continue, he learned how to solve his problem without us always come into it. So one of the things that we do is that when he brings it crying, we say, okay, you don't need to cry because there is nothing you can do if you cry. First and foremost, I know that you're frustrated. You need to validate your child's feeling. Everybody has an emotion and must be validated. I know you're frustrated about this. Can you, try to do it this way? Maybe you sit for a while again, think about it again before you can now build a system through and all of that. And then he sits again and he gets agitated again. We're like, okay, can you try it this way? We taught our children how to read manuals of things as simple as toys when they were young, because we needed them to understand going through processes. And over the time, when they have issues, they do not need to run to us. They don't need to run to us. First of all, they look at how they use the framework. There's a problem-solving framework. You need to teach your children. There's a framework. They use the framework of problem-solving to get that sorted. Many of the times you come back and they say, oh, I ran into this problem. I was able to do this and do that. And I don't expect my child to call me for every time they run into a problem. If my child have to call me to rescue them every time they run into a problem, there's a problem with what I'm teaching. It means that my child isn't learning. And that should worry me. That should worry me. So for every of those times, what we do is step back and give them the opportunity to actually think. Unfortunately, in this part of the world, we don't give our children opportunities to think. So this morning on the breakfast table, we have the twins and their friends over, and we're discussing what could have gone wrong. I shared the Urban supermarket that got burnt on our community, and we were discussing what could have gone wrong that made the Urban supermarket burn. Let me tell you this today: if you do not have a fire extinguisher, your children do not know how to do fire drills, please go back and go and teach them. If you need to get a professional to teach it in your home, go and do that. Stop shouting, God forbid. God forbid teaches nothing. Stop shouting, oh, it will never be my portion. It will never come to me. Go and get fire extinguishers. And he gave us an opportunity again to even recreate again. Also, do you know the spots where the fire extinguishers are in the house? And they were able to, yes. Do you still, remember how to open it, how to spot it? Our children use gas cooker, for crying out loud. Why are you not teaching your children how to operate things and also how to keep safe? What if you are not home and they need to go and they go and open all of these things and everywhere, begins to burn just because they do not have an idea that you don't light fire when the gas is open? You need to teach them. And when we sat down on that table, we said, what could have happened in Ebano supermarket that day? Our children with their friends gave too many. Some of the examples they gave were very silly. Some of them were very thoughtful. Some of them were outrightly stupid. But you know what? As stupid and as silly as those of them sounded, my husband and I never said, that's a stupid idea. We just said, that's interesting. And why do you think it could have been like this? Why do you think it could have been like this? Why do you think it couldn't have been like this? And the children kept churning answers by themselves. They were able to think through their process. The ones that sounded silly, by the time we asked 1-2 questions, they realized that, okay, that's not possible. Then they think through again. They thought of accents. They thought of, people being envious. They thought of, there were just too many lessons that we could learn. Us just on the breakfast table this morning when we're done with breakfast. It's public holiday. We took out time to go and, put all of these together. We're planning to go bird hunting, my husband and, the kids and all of us. And we're going to get catapults to go bird hunting. We have a mountain close to us. And, while, we were talking about it, it's a framework that we have built to be able to teach our children, number one, how to focus. Number two, how to actually, go through a process, persevere, how to set a target, how to, put things, how to solve issues, don't step at it. And there are too many things you can learn by simple going to do a bird hunt session with your kids. By simply going to climb a hill with your children, there will be too many things you can teach them while that happens. There are too many things you can teach them while that happens. Think through your process, dear parents. In the inner circle, part of the things that we teach parents is to build frames for their month. Every month, you build a frame for the month of that year. Every month, you build a frame. And when you build a frame, you put some kind of curriculum that helps you through with that frame. That curriculum helps you to put you through. There are some months that we're teaching failure in itself as a framework. Why are children committing suicide? Because we're telling them that we need to rescue them from everything that happens to them. So whenever they have an issue, they fail at something, boom, they want to go and kill themselves. The children can't persevere anything anymore because we're constantly running into their process. We're constantly running into their space so that we can rescue them, so that we can show that we are good parents. Unfortunately, you can love your child and destroy your child. You can love your child and destroy your child if you lack skills and knowledge. Somebody help me put that in the comment section. You can love your child and destroy your child if you lack skills and knowledge. And when that happens, the truth of the matter is that it's going to take you a long haul. It takes so much. There are too many things to teach your children for you to just parent without thinking. Parent without thinking. Or parent because that's how we're raised. That's how we're raised. I usually ask people time and again how you were raised. My children are better 11-year-olds than I am. My mom is here. My mom is right here. My mom built so much skills, helped us, pull through and all of that. But I've decided there are too many things that my 11-year-olds should know. And my 11-year-olds are better 11-year-olds than I was. Isn't that progress? Isn't that what we're talking about? Instead of us sitting down every minute, telling ourselves, hey, that's how we're raised. They can't tell me what it is that I need to do. Oh, I will do it to my children. It's the same thing. You can love your child and destroy your child if you lack knowledge and skills. Go and ask Pastor Eli in the Bible. Go and ask David. Go and ask them. You can be in love with your child. Everything everything your child does, yet you will destroy them. Intentions are not enough in parenting. Intentions without knowledge, without skills, can destroy your child. No parent wakes up any day to say, oh, because it's my child, and right now I want to just, deal with my child and all of that, and just make them useless. Nobody thinks that. But the experience you give your child can end up destroying your child. Intentions are not enough. That you intend to build a child. You intend to build a child that is this, that is that. It's beautiful. But I tell you, that alone will destroy your child. You need much more than intentions. Good intentions is not what it is. You need much more than good intentions. They don't just work in that way. You need good intentions, you need skills, you need knowledge, you need grit. You need the ability to know what it is to do with these good intentions. I want my child to be this. Is that where he ends? I'm praying for it. That's not where he ends. That's not where he ends. The Bible says that the children, the sons of Issachar, and when you read the sons of Issachar, when you read about the tribe of the sons of Issachar, they were known to be so knowledgeable. They were known to be so skillful. While the other people were shouting and chanting war on how to intro David, it was recorded that this particular tribe understood the times. Don't kid yourself. There is a way. It's not the way. There is a way. That quote in Ecclesiastes that says that the labor of the foolish wearieth them, but because they do not know how to go to the city. They do not know how to go to the city. So you can be laboring, but it can be a foolish labor. That laboring might not be the one that can take you to the city. You won't get there. No matter how far you have gone on a wrong journey, you will never get to your destination. You must turn around. Turn around completely. Turn around completely to get to where it is that they are going to. And that takes me to the last one. You need to let your children know God by themselves. You see all these, I am praying for my child. Oh, my child, it's good to pray for your child. I am number one person who subscribes to that. But it is important to teach your children how to groom spiritual skills. A lot of us lack spiritual skills. A lot of us do not understand who God is. It is about what our pastor said. We can't even hear the God that we are worshiping. We can't. We don't know the God. So what are we talking about? We don't know that God. What is it that we're doing? Do you know? I was sharing in the last session that the ability to hear God is a valid skill in the 21st century. Can your children have a connection with their God? Do you even know the temperament, the spiritual temperament that your child carries, on the spiritual? You just want them to just need that, just pray. Because I said. Are you even listening to you? If your child does not know God for themselves, forget it. Your child will need to learn to be groomed. Your child will need to learn to be groomed, to sieve there are spiritual nonsense that go on. Your child needs to learn that when they hear the one that is okay and the one that is not okay. Ability to sieve from the bog, from the rubbish that is out there is a skill. If you don't build it in your child will not have it. It's not magic. A lot of us go to church, sit down, they give us whatever rubbish, you come back, download it, you are screaming, you are shouting, without even thinking of our experiences. Do you know that everybody in the scripture connected to God in a different way? Have that sounded something to you? How would your child go out there if they cannot understand the God they are serving? Just you. It's all about how you are dragging them everywhere. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Every time we are constantly dragging our children dragging our children. And yet, our children can't connect. Have you ever thought why our teenagers are going abroad and turning to atheists? Have that not given you a concern? Yet we are very religious. We are D and all of that. All the gym and everything that we're doing. Yet our children are fast clearing off in the system of what it is that we are creating, that is religion. We're doing religion. We're not teaching them spirituality. That's what we're doing. And because we're doing religion, that's why we are still screaming, spare the rod, spare the rod, spare the child. So it's religion. Because somebody interpreted it as so. You're not listening to the Holy Spirit yourself. Go and teach your children how to. We are assimilating a lot of religious junk. And because of that, we are passing it on to our children. Unfortunately, our children are questioning the process. The Gen Z is known to not to just take anything. So that's what is happening. You know, the millennials couldn't question a lot of things. We were shut down, we were given whatever it is that we're giving, and we took it and we went home with it. All right? And by the time we came back, it was easy, and we just stayed because we couldn't question a lot of things. Now the Gen Zers are questioning even the things that are written in the scriptures. So if you do not, and there's nothing wrong with it, the Bible said that the Thessalonians were actually better than the other people, the other church in, is it Philippians or so? And because that they went back to go and search out what Paul had taught to them. It means that you need to go back. When your pastor finishes talking, you need to go back on your own and go and know what it is that preacher is saying. It's a skill, oh. Spirituality skill. It is a skill. And it's something that we need to consciously teach our children. Consciously. Without looking back. Whether you're a Muslim or you're a Christian, it doesn't matter. Whatever it is that you believe in, go back and go and look at your process. Ask yourself questions. What exactly am I doing? Again, your child can be a virgin and be foolish. Your child can be obedient and be foolish. It's not enough. It's not enough to raise a child that is obedient. I want us to go back. When we read our Bible, let us go back. So when people come out, I see Christians say things like, there's no one way to parenting a child. All these things that they're saying, there are principles. Do you know that there are outliners today that is being raised to take over the world in different sectors? When I see these things, I run crazy. Do you know you're raising slaves for these outliners? If you're not intentionally raising your children, you are raising slaves for these outliners. So your children are going to be servants. Come on. There is a way to raise kings. I like the way that Children came to the inner circle last month webinar, and even me, we all went back to go and sit down and begin to write, what did I hear today? Review the process that you're working. And when he was at that webinar, he said, you are there making noise, screaming and shouting. He said, there is a way to the gate. That's what the Bible says. So you can be foolish and you're laboring. So it doesn't mean that you're not doing anything. So you can be doing something that is wrong, and that will lead to destroying your child, whether you like it or not. Because it's all about what you sow and what you're going to. That's what it's about. I tell parents in the inner circle, it is the difference. You can't know. There are a lot of these, there are a lot of things, there are a lot of things that it's in the system that you need to actually learn in your process as a parent. So while you sit down there and say, oh, there's no way, all these things that they're telling us, some people are using a system of raising kings to raise kings. Go and read. Go and read history. Kings are not raised like slaves. There's a difference.
There's a difference. There's a mentality. Have you ever wondered why is it that Moses had to be raised in a palace? Why? It's a mentality shift. It is important for Moses. There is a system for raising kings. There is a system for raising leaders. I was watching a documentary yesterday. I watch a lot of documentaries, and I was watching a documentary on ID, crime investigation, on 4 friends who killed themselves. And one of them, when they, did this documentary, the grandparents of this boy was in the line of fire, after that. And when they were analyzing it, and they said, there are children who are leaders, and there are children who are followers. And the commentator said, there is a way to raise leaders. It's a mindset thing. There is a way. There is a way. Stop. You see all this wokeness of, oh, I know what I'm doing, all these things that they're saying and all of that. You are raising slaves for people who are raising outliners. You will remember this quote in years to come. You are raising slaves for people who are raising outliners. There are people raising outliners. Don't kid yourself. They are in this world. The children who are going to lead in the Gen Zers, among them, there is a way, there is a system. There is a system that works for kings. Go and sit down and analyze the kings of the world and look at the system of how they were raised. There is something about them that is different from whatever it is that you are doing. And until you understand that there are principles guiding life, until you understand that part, you will continue to raise your children to become slaves for the outliners. You will continue to come on social media to shout, yes, we must beat your children. They must die. That's how we're raised. Until you understand the intricacies of raising children, you will continue to scream like that out there. It's only been 6 months for many of the parents in the inner circle. And they are beginning to understand when I say there is a way. When you raise outliners, you will see when a lot of comments come on the group, I just smile. I look at us, people who are raising slaves for outliners. There is a system. There is a system that is a mind-blowing thing. There are principles. Unfortunately, that's the same way that we also do our Christianity. Our Christianity, what we say, right, is, I just love Jesus. I just love Jesus. But we refuse to follow the principles of Jesus. Loving Jesus is one thing. Following the principles of Jesus is one thing. Do you know that people who follow the principles of people who influence their world are the people who follow the principles of Jesus, not just loving Jesus. You can love Jesus and not be able to affect your world. You can love Jesus and not be able to affect your world if you do not understand the principles of Jesus. I'm going to share this as I begin to conclude and then take questions. The truth of the matter is that there is a system of building slaves, building kings, building mansion, building what's it called? Building a thatch roof. A shanty and a mansion can never be built the same way. If you want to build a shanty, one of the things that you do if you want to build a shanty, build a shanty is that you just place it there, right? When you want to build a shanty, the inner circle parents are reminding me, shanty, yes. When you don't place it, just come there and just put your hand and a shanty raises up. If you want to build a mansion, Charity, you can get replay, all right? Right in the group. If you want to build a mansion, you need professionals, you need hands on deck, you need to do stuff, you need to sit down and follow a process. It's not the same. It's not the same. Yes, it is Generation Z. That's what you can Google. Generation Z, not J, right? And there is a system. Part of what it is that we do in the inner circle, is to help you create a system. All right, sorry, I had a bit of hitch. Help you create a system that actually puts you in a place where you begin to think through your process. Is it that you're a thinking parent or you're a parent that isn't thinking? Either way, the choice is yours. You can choose to parent the way that you want to, but after all, it doesn't matter. What do you mean? Does it really matter? I will give my children phone when I want to give them. They can do what they want to do. Are you in my house? I can beat them anyhow I want. They are my children. Interestingly, those children are actually not yours. They're actually not yours. I think if you understand that, it will help you a lot. When you're going to stand in the front of the maker, you're going to answer questions on how and why you did what you did. And that's when you will realize that you were not giving the children, really. You were actually giving us caretakers. And you're going to answer the question, of caretaking. Then that would, take you to the place. That will put a lot, in your head. So if you want to join us in the inner circle, if you have questions, please put. If you want to join us in the inner circle, if you haven't already booked your slot, join us for 2022. Just put inner circle in the comment section and you will be able to put, and we'll be able to give you details of how to join us. If you're watching us on YouTube, all you need to do is to look at the flicker, the ticker that is actually going on there. That ticker has our number. Just take our number and we'll give you details. You just send us a chat. Now, the inner circle is not a place we come to play. No, it is a serious place. In fact, it's more serious when we are doing things in the inner circle. It's a more buzz kind of thing, right? We almost beat the parents in the inner circle are here. So if you're not serious on your journey, don't bother, because you are going to get tired and you are going to throw it away. All right. And again, the inner circle is not free. It's not. We don't run a free WhatsApp group. No, the inner circle is for parents who would want to walk through their process intentionally, thinking it through, putting in the things. People who want to raise kings, not who want to raise outliners, not slaves. So people who actually want to put in something in their process. All you need to do is just put in the comment section. Inner Circle will give you details of how you can reach out to us. Let me see if we have questions. I remember that somebody was asking me a question on why they need to, when they can give their children a phone. By the way, you need to book a slot for 2022 now, because we have, right now as we speak, we have a full batch, closed. We usually take 2 batches, and we have 1 batch already as in full. We already have 1 batch full for 2022. So if you don't book your slot now, you might not be able to get a slot. And that's how we're going to oppress you again next year. Like somebody told me this morning, Coach, you're actually oppressing me. And Augustine, if you can see me, please help me respond and put the details on how they can get the inner circle, get into the inner circle. Like I said, the inner circle, thank you, Augustine. The inner circle is not a free platform. No, we don't run that. It is an annual program for parents, where parents come and sit and understand that we are in for serious business. You cannot read books, go for the master classes that we have in the inner circle, go through the processes, that the kind of conversations and you remain the same. It's not possible. So the parents who have been in the inner circle over these years, they in fact, even when they respond on social media, you will know that these are parents that are on a journey. They are not just, they're not just WhatsApp number right under the ticker that is going down, under, so that you would be able to get all the details. So somebody asked me that when should I give my child a phone? I have a baby of 2 years. Is that what I saw? Whom I have given phone to. Collect the phone. Your baby of 2 years does not need a phone. I still do not understand why you're giving your baby of 2 years a phone. I'd like to say something to you. Just send me a chat. Let me give you. I have a free book called Screen Time Addiction. How much is too much? When you read that book, it's going to actually help you. So all you will need to do is to read that book, right? That's all you need to do, right? So when you read that book, all your answers will be there. And then if you want to build a system, that would also help you, what you need to do is to get the media plan, and build a plan for your child. Your 2-year-old cannot own a smartphone. It's not having money. It's not a matter of, oh, I have it so I can do it. No, it goes beyond that. All right, it goes beyond that. Okay, it goes beyond that. So do we have more questions? Do we have more questions? So check our store. You will see our seller store. If you want that book, you will see our seller store. You see our seller store is free. It's a free book, and you'll be able to get a copy. You'll be able to get a copy of that book in our seller store and share. And you can now do all the things that you need to do. If you want to join the inner circle, and I know that we've been announcing the inner circle. I'm taking time this year. I know what happened this year. Last year, we announced the inner circle from November to December, even though we talked about it a bit in the conference. A lot of people came by January to say, I never heard of it. Please, can you get in? Unfortunately, we couldn't register people. We had a March batch, and we could only take a few people, I think about 100 parents, but we couldn't take more than that because we were only, overwhelmed. All right, we were already overwhelmed by the numbers that we had. We have almost 1,000 parents in the inner circle right now. So because of that, we decided to start announcing the inner circle early. This is 6 months of the time. So by the time we get to December, when we get to open up the registrations in October, we will shut it down if we have the number that we want. So if you don't have a slot, if you have a slot already, it means that you have an automatic entry. If you do not have a slot, then it is you doing kalo. You can get in, you cannot, depending on how many slots that will be available by the time we open up registrations, right? Fully. But we're announcing so that you don't get, people don't come back to us and say, oh, I didn't hear. Oh, I didn't know about it. Oh, I don't know anything about, the inner circle. Oh, I wish I knew, and all of that. People are still trolling us. In fact, the people who have booked slots for 2022, many of them still trolled me this morning when I shared about our book review that we had yesterday. Oh, it was all sorts of, amazing in level 1A, all right? And, the people in level 1A brought their A game to that conversation. I enjoyed myself. And, I shared about it just, yesterday. And a parent said, I've already booked a slot. I cannot wait anymore. We will all have to wait. Somebody said, God bless you, coach. Please, I want to ask, how will you manage a 4-year-old that will take up to 1 hour to eat unless you feed her, but in school she eats very well? So you need to teach your child. You need to teach your child how to actually do all of those functioning. There's something we call the executive functioning skills. Building executive functioning skills now will also help your child to be able to do all of that. And then begin to give her more time to it. Begin to give her more so that she will be able to do it herself. All right. But the more time you give her to do it, to practice it, since she's able to do it in school. So it means that there's a leverage, in the house. All right. And all of that. So you need to actually work on that. How do I do it with a 3-year-old that lies and likes to do things that way? You need to put a system that helps your 3-year-old to do a lot of things. One of the things that you also would understand is that there's a make-believe system in a child. At 3 years, children begin to have the make-believe system, right? And all the things that, they think of and the influences that come around them. It is time to teach, not time to beat. If you find your child doing something wrong, it is time to question what is happening in the environment of your child. Can I teach? What do I teach? How do I go about it? I would recommend that you build a structure that will help you to be able to checkmate a lot of these things in your home. Our structured parenting guide will help you to be able to solve that problem. All right, I have another. Okay, Chizoba said, we use phone over Wi-Fi for her cartoons when there's no live to watch cartoon on TV. Not a show per se, right or wrong. It depends on what it is that you're asking, right? If you're asking if your child at less than 18 months should be put on cartoon, the answer is wrong. The answer is wrong. All right? The answer is wrong. And if you're putting up whatever it is, there's something about the phone, the system, the smartphone, the way it was built. All right? Your child must not watch TV when there's no light. If your child is above 18, have reached the age of being put on a screen. So you can actually put a system. You can actually put a system that helps your child to do other things. TV, the skills. I like to say, come closer, let me tell you, like they say on social media. The skills your child will need to thrive in the 21st century is not on the screen. Don't get it twisted. It's not on the screen. That's something that you must know. How do I talk to a 5-year-old that don't listen to her parents? You need to learn what it is that is happening. Parenting is not about the child. It's about you. Go back and go and deal with it, ma'am. How do I do with my 11-year-old that is shy, that shies away from chores? Structures, systems in your home. What structures do you have? What systems do you have? Again, we're back to structures. How do you handle a 6-year-old who does not take or implement instruction no matter what it is that you do? It depends. Chile, you need to actually begin to look at, and whether it has to do with your chores and academics, you need to begin to look at the structure that is in your home. Structure that is in your home. I've been screaming structure. I might not be able to give you a clear, work, but I would advise you, get a structured parenting guide. Send us a chat. Get into our store and seller. Get the structured parenting guide. Unfortunately, we think that the free webinars, the free conferences is going to solve our problem for us. No, you need a system. Parenting is not about tips and hacks. Parenting is about the process. So there's no tip or a hack that I'm going to give you today that's going to solve your problem. I'm sure if I ask you now, have you read anything, any parenting book? There's none. Have you attended any course? There's none. So how do you want to know what to do? From a webinar, free webinar, there's an hour, that is not going to help you, really. Because we're talking about raising a human being, a free human being for 18 years. And you're talking about just winging it. You can't wing it. You can't wing it. Pay for resources. Somebody saying, my 7-year-old plays a lot. What is the system in the home? Pay for resources. Buy books, right? What kind of book does your 7-year-old should be reading? Do you know? Do you know the learning style of your 7-year-old? It's not okay for us to just look at the issues and just complain about them. Do something about them. Learn, find knowledge. The Bible says, my people perish for lack of knowledge, not lack of prayers, really. So you can pray and still perish. That's what it means, without knowledge. So you need to go for knowledge. Let your body itch for knowledge. For the record, for all the people shouting inner circle. If you're not ready for knowledge, forget it. You forget it. You can't survive in the inner circle. The inner circle is a knowledge-driven system. It's all about the knowledge, what you're learning. Nobody is spoon-feeding you there. Nope, nobody is. You need to take it upon yourself and tell yourself, I want to do this. I want to do this. What are the resources that I need to be able to change the tides? That's the question you should be asking. Go and get the resources to change the tides for you. If your child, like I said earlier, there is a system that you need to put up when it comes to, learning. All right? There is a system. There's a system you need to put up when it comes to learning. You need to put up that system. Whether you like it or not, whether you argue it or not, it is in you standing up today and taking action. You can ask all the tons of questions here. It's not going to solve your problem. Quote me anywhere. You can attend all the webinars. It's not going to solve your problem, really. You need to commit to a process. The tips and hacks are good. It's a wake-up call. It doesn't really chat you, the course to whatever system that you need to go. Somebody said, my son lies and disobeys a lot. What do I do? He's 13. You need to help your child structure. What do you know about discipline yourself? It's okay for us to say, oh, my child is always lying. What do you know about discipline? What book on discipline have you bought? Have you read? What book on discipline have you read? What have you read on parenting at all? At all. So it's the knowledge you have. Now, that's why the Bible, as I begin to conclude, that's why God told Abraham that it is as far as your eyes can see. It's as far as your eyes can see. Your eyes cannot see further than what you know. What can you see? What you can see is the things that you know. It's knowledge. What do you know? It's okay. I hear a parent told me recently, oh, how anytime she buys books, that the children will always tear it. And that's why she stopped buying books. And I asked her a simple question. Don't you buy dress when it tears? Don't you buy shoes when it breaks? It is in our value system, nothing more. It's not really in the item. It's in our value system. If you value books, then you will buy books. If you value knowledge, then you will pay for courses. If you value it and they mean something to you, you will pay for them. I asked that parent, I said, what is the biggest amount of bag you have bought? She said she has bought a designer for 300,000 yet. And I asked her, has the designer ever spelled? She said, I even gave it out and I bought another one. Awesome. Yet you think that you can parent a child without investing anything. But you can invest your body, your everything you want to, come out looking dapper. You can spend anything putting up clothes for them to look dapper. But you don't think you need to pay to read a book. You don't think you need to pay to attend a course. You want free things. You want to use free things to raise your children. It's all right. I think that is where I'm going to stop. There is a difference. There's some kind of knowledge you will never access for free. It's not anything. Ask anywhere. There's a level of knowledge you will never be able to access for free. Never. No matter how much you go on Google. I remember when I was teaching the parents in the inner circle about honor as a skill. And I said to them, you can't find it on Google. There's a level of knowledge you can never access anywhere, except you're actually paying to actually access that knowledge. Knowledge isn't free. And if you think it is, try ignorance, because ignorance itself is expensive. And when you do try ignorance as expensive, all right, as it is, trust me, you would understand what it can do to your journey, what it can do to human beings, all right, when you're done, So let there be an awakening, a hunger for wanting to actually do things, get a book, pay for it, read. My child cannot read yet. You don't even buy books in the home for your child to read. You just want them to just sit down. You cannot buy books. A parent told me recently, the kind of books you buy are all these expensive books. I don't have money for those kind of things you people do. I don't have money for those kind of things you people do. Well, the choice is yours. The choice is yours. Nobody's going to force anybody to actually be able to do whatever. But remember, there are outliners and there are slaves being raised to serve the outliners. There's a way to raise kings. There's a way to raise slaves. The choice is yours. And again, you can love your child and yet destroy that child because you lack skills and you lack knowledge. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. We've done extra 30 minutes for doing this. All right. Thank you, Amara Chukwuabara. Thank you so much. Thank you, Cheese Sonny. Cheese Sonny is asking, just look at the screenshot. If you want to join the inner circle, look at on YouTube. Just take a look at the chat. You will see the number. Send us a chat, and then we would respond to you. All right. The free book, our seller, the books we have on seller, we have some for free. We have paid. We're going to share the link right in the description of this session. We will also share that in the description of this video as well. Thank you again and again for joining me. All right, simply do send us a chat if you want to reach us. I am very, very thankful that you join me every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Enjoy the holidays and do have an amazing week ahead. And remember, hey, don't forget to register for the TIP annual conference. We are doing that by Friday. TIP annual conference goes live. Live. You want to register, you want to be there. It's going to stream live on our YouTube channel. And all the registered participants are going to get so many freebies. You don't want to not be there, right? Please register, and you are also going to get all the prompts in our Telegram channel and all of that. You want to be at the TIP annual conference. It is somewhere you don't want to go. Oh, yes, it's free. That's our comeback, our give back to the society. That's how we give back to the society. It's 30 speakers all over the world. Look for the link in all our posts. You will see it there. Look for the link. You will see it there, right? And see you again on Friday. All right. See you on Friday when we're going to be going live at 4 p.m. All right. We're going to be going live at 4 p.m. right in the at the TIP annual conference. It is our parenting Shiloh. Yes. It's our parenting Shiloh. Our parenting Shiloh. We call it 30 speakers, 8 days of learning. You can't recover. You don't come for TIP annual conference and recover. Last year, we haven't recovered till now. We're still, released on it and all of that. We are set out for this year again. Friday, 4 p.m., we go live, and that will be Friday to Friday. Look for the link right in the post that we made this morning about the TIP annual conference. I made that post. You will see it, right? Thank you so much, everybody, and see you on Friday when we go live, all right? Somebody say, how do we pay? The TIP annual conference is not a paid program, it's a fee-free program. The paid program is the Inner Circle program. Send us a chat. Just put Inner Circle and you will get details. Have a good evening and see you.